Welcome back to my channel, my little chickens. We're in for episode 2 of the Dating Chronicles. I'm kind of going in chronological order, so this will be the second person that I ever dealt with when on my singledom journey. Now buckle in because this is a rough one. Now I'm not gonna say the nickname that me and my friends coined for him directly, because this man was a little unhinged, okay? And the nickname that we gave him includes sort of his real name. So I feel like if he were to ever find out that I was talking about him and used his like given Christian name, he would like go berserk. So I will say we're gonna call him DD. His nickname is a SpongeBob SquarePants joke, and I believe most of you will be able to put 2 and 2 together for me calling him DD and telling you it's a SpongeBob SquarePants reference. We're time traveling back again. We're time traveling back to probably like October, November of 2018. And I will remind you, so that you all can find grace for me as you listen to this story, that I was getting out of a very long-term relationship with someone that I thought I was going to marry. And my first like real like adult relationship. So I was going through it a little bit, and this was the first time that I had any real experience with dating men. So this story, I'm definitely not going to be quite as nice and magnanimous as I was to Pizza Kev, because this man, he gave me my first real taste of what it was like to be gaslit by a man. So as all good dating stories start, we met on Tinder. It's absolutely insane that I found the love of my life, the best man in the world, on Tinder, because my track record up until that point, abysmal. And let me be straight with y'all, he was a tattooed drummer. Okay? I have always had a thing for drummers, really any man that plays an instrument, but like something about drummers, the way that they look when they're drumming, man, I don't know. He was also a short king, and I'm talking like maybe 5'3", much shorter than me. I do not discriminate against size. I never have. It's not something that's important to me. I have no problem being taller. I have no problem. I actually love being seen as like a tall Amazonian goddess woman. And I have dated like some short men that have been into that. I don't think this man was one of those. Like, I think he was okay with it, but he definitely had a bit of a Napoleon complex. When we first meet up, like he's cool and he's chill and we're having a good time and we're laughing, and he's like goofy, and you know, we're like witty bantering back and forth. But like very quickly into the date, I can tell that like he is the type of like goofy silly goose that I don't really like, and it's the type that like literally cannot take anything seriously. Like we go to a diner and like I'm trying to like get to know him and like tell him like some facts about myself, and it just like, it felt like everything I said he had like a witty retort back to. And I'm saying like everything, like truly, like I could be like yeah, I have 2 brothers, and he would like find like a sarcastic snarky response back, and it was never like, it never made me feel like he was being like a dick. It just was like that type of humor. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I was like, you know what, like it's the first date, you know, everyone's always like a little nervous and is like maybe gonna like not be showing like the best version of themselves. But he never truly did. No, he never truly did calm down and take anything seriously. I think when we first started talking about like what we were each looking for, we both gave the like non-committal answer of like looking to connect with someone and like not, you know, not necessarily like searching for a relationship, but like wouldn't be opposed to one, you know, like every fucking millennial Gen Z's favorite non-committal answer of like, yeah, I could if the opportunity presented myself, but you know, it's, you know, I'm not looking to be in a relationship. No, because that would be cringe. You know, like that kind of bullshit. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what we agreed upon, but it was kind of like, I entered the dating pool with the idea that most people are on the same wavelength, which is we meet, we see if we vibe, and then we keep going on dates until we're in a relationship. Like I thought that's what dating was, and apparently to most people, it isn't. From the diner, we go back to his place, which is again, the basement apartment in his parents' house. 2 for 2 for Mare Bear. I can't remember how many times we met up in total, but I think the first time, I don't know if we played video games or if we watched a movie, but what is important, okay, what is important is that we got intimate all the way. Now I'm gonna try to be very careful about how I tell this story so that it's not too inappropriate for YouTube. So as we're going at it, I'm starting to realize that I'm doing all the work here. I'm not used to that because, again, everyone up until this point have been very generous lovers. So at a certain point, he wants to, you know, like move things along. He wants to get to the climax of the performance, okay? And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe we'll make the devil with two backs, and then afterwards, then he'll take care of me, right? Because he hasn't done anything so far, nothing. I've done everything. Before I move on, this is the look that I'm gonna be attempting today, and it could go so horribly wrong and ruin my whole day. So we're gonna try our best. These are star stickers, and I'm gonna put them all over this area and then put eyeshadow over them, like to trace them, graphic liner, and hopefully it will all go according to plan. Okay, mistake number one. I shouldn't have done this after I put foundation on. They're not really sticking that well, but we persevere. So we do it. Afterward, he immediately gets up, goes to get a paper towel, wipes himself off, and then gets in the shower. It's like without a word, just gets up. I also, mind you, didn't know that he was done because he made not a sound. He's in there for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Like, it's not like a quick little rinse off. When he comes back, he just like gets back into bed, which was a futon. He gets back into bed and he just like cuddles me and like pretty much goes to sleep. And I was like, are you going to sleep? And he was like, oh yeah, do you want to stay over? And I was like, and I was like, I guess so. Like, I guess I'll stay over. Girl. So I'm feeling like not so great about it as I go off to sleep in this stranger's bed. But then in the morning I wake up and he's like, you know, still being like charming and silly and fun. And I'm like, all right, okay, that's, you know, it's not too bad. Like, he's not too bad. And the, you know, the intimacy wasn't that bad. It just like, it wasn't technically bad. It just like wasn't satisfying. So then he's like, let's go get breakfast. And he like bought me breakfast. And I was like, oh, it's so nice of you to buy me breakfast. And he's like saying nice things, being like, well, you should be treated like a queen. So like, that's a no-brainer. And he's like, this will be one of the last times that this man is nice to me. Okay, clock that. And if you remember from the last video, again, self-worth in the toilet. So I'm like, all right, well, he was nice to me once, so I guess he likes me. Again, I can't remember how many more times we saw each other, but there was one time where we were like trying to see each other around Christmas, and like it wasn't really working out because I was with my parents, and he was like kind of he was like sort of making me feel bad about it. And again, I was a stranger to the gaslighting ways of cis men. So I was not prepared. We only went on a date once. Every other time was just like me going to his place. This saga is kind of in parts. So like after a couple of times of hanging out, I thought we really liked each other. We got along really well, and I was kind of like starting to again talk about him to people. Lesson number one, don't tell anyone about your Tinder conquests until they actually are of importance. So I one day decide to text him and say like, hey, so essentially do the what are we text, right? This man goes insane. And again, no defenses to gaslighting. The way that this man was talking to me, I wish I still had the receipts. When the first time that you are ever gaslit, it is insane because you do feel crazy. You feel insane. You're like, what is happening? I know you're lying. And there was like, so the gist of him gaslighting me and freaking out at me asking what are we was that he felt like it was disrespectful of me, or like it was like rude of me to bring it up, because then he swore up and down that he wasn't looking for anything serious and that he was just looking to like have a good time because he has a lot of trauma. Like, he gets all pissy and bitchy at me, and he's saying that it was like rude of me to bring it up and this and that, and then he's swearing up and down that he's not looking for a relationship, or he's only looking for something casual. And I was like, first of all, he was being so nasty to me, and second of all, he was lying, because, and I went back in our texts and I literally screenshot the conversation that we had where we both agreed that we were like not specifically looking for a relationship, but if something like turned into one, then we wouldn't be opposed to it. And that's kind of like what was going on with us at this time, was that he was like, you know, I was going over and spending the night, and we were cuddling, and he was doing a little future planning with me, and, you know, buying me food and this and that. Like, it felt, and again, I don't, you know, have the tools to like really know like how to defend myself from this kind of situation and protect my heart. So I'm thinking that, you know, I'm just assuming the best in this person. And I'm like, okay, well, he's obviously into me and I'm into him, and we're getting closer, we're spending more time together. So we should have this discussion of like, where is this going? What's happening? I have other people that are interested in me. I'm sure you do too. Like, what are we doing? And he got so mean to me. And the straw on the camel's back in that conversation, I was getting pissed too. I was on break at work at Trader Joe's. I was getting pissed. He said, I think you're being a little crazy right now, and all of my friends agree with me that you're being crazy. I've been showing them your texts, and they agree that you're acting a little out of pocket right now. And I was like, and whether he was with people or not, I don't know, but like just that idea that he was arguing with me over the phone for like an hour, and he was with people and he was telling them what was going on, showing them the texts, and then said, yeah, they agree you're being kind of crazy, because he probably was like, look at this girl that I slept with twice, 3 times, whatever, asking me what are we, what a fucking stage 5 clinger, like all that, you know, like he probably like made it sound like I was crazier than I was when I was like. So I just said, you know what, I'm good. We're done. Like, you know, I don't like the way that you've spoken to me. I think you were really rude. You were really crass. And I know that you're lying. You know that you're lying. I've showed you the literal receipts that you're lying. And he would just ignore them. He wouldn't even deign to address the fact that I was like, here's a proof you're lying. And he was like, okay, great. Have a great life. See you. Have a nice life. I'm gonna block you. Reader, he did not. And he came a-crawling back. So that's the end of part 1. Let's see if this even worked. Okay. This might work. Period. You guys. Okay, so that worked out perfectly. Now on to the graphic liner, which actually is the scariest part. I'll probably do most of this off camera. I'll try to speed it up a little bit of this whole fucking saga, but so that was like late November, early December of 2018. I want to say in like January-ish of 2019. So like a month or 2 went by. And he comes crawling back with a little apology. Well, he actually came back like nothing was wrong, and then I was like, are you insane? Like, the way that you treated me was inexcusable. And he apologized, and I'm a sucker for an apology. I love, like, I'm such a like second chance ass bitch. And so I say, all right, we can meet up again, we can hang out again. And I hung out with my girlfriends before. I remember this specifically. I hung out with my girlfriends before, and they were like, girl, and I was like, I know, stop, like honk honk, clown nose. And so then I went to his place after hanging out with them for a little while. So I get there, I get to his place, and I'm knocking, he's not answering. So I'm texting and I'm saying, where are you? And then finally he swings open the door and he says, hey, how are you? Gives me a good big hug and he says, come in. He was in the middle of playing Super Smash Brothers. He was like in the middle of a melee. I don't know those video game terms. He immediately ignores me. Like, he goes back to what he was doing and he immediately ignores me. Once the match was finished, he turns to me and he's like, hey, how you doing? I've been stewing while he was playing a stupid little game. And I'm like, so you invited me over to watch you play video games? And he was like, well, I don't know. I was, I'm playing with my friends and, we're in the middle of something. And I was like, so I'm at this point, like, well, I'm here, you know? I made the trek here, I'm here. So I'm just sitting there, I'm on my phone, whatever, he's playing video games. And eventually it turns into sexy time, and it's the same thing as last time. I eventually got better at it, but I was really bad at speaking up for myself during intercourse and intimacy. So I would just kind of like, when it was happening, I was like, okay, I'll just deal with it and then I'll say something afterwards. The same thing happens where he finishes silently, gets up, gets a paper towel, and goes in the shower. And so I think I remember, I at this point I had enough nerve to like ask him and be like, bro, what's that about? Why are you doing that? And at this point I had also seen Sex and the City for the first time, and there was that whole episode where Miranda dates the guy who showers after sex, and then she asks him why, and it turns out like he's like really religious and like wanted to wash the sin off of him. And so I thought maybe that's what was happening, and it kind of was, I think. I just don't think he knew how to express that, but he did say that he felt dirty afterwards, and like he wipes himself off with the paper towel, and there's like bits that get stuck, so he needs to shower off and this and that. And I'm just like, so at this point I'm also really pissed because this is the second time now that he hasn't done anything to me, hasn't gotten me anywhere near the finish line, and just hasn't done anything to me. So I am fuming as he's showering. So once he gets out of the shower, he's like trying to cuddle. He gets back into bed again, and he's trying to cuddle me, and I'm like having none of it, and I'm like huffing and puffing, and I'm like like I'm giving him like weird cold shoulder instead of just telling him why I was mad. Hello. So eventually he goes, what's wrong? He was like, oh, you didn't did you? Can't even say it. You shouldn't be having sex if you can't say the big boy words, right? Can't even say it. And I just looked at him and I went, no. And he went, oh, I'm sorry. Can you come here? And he just folds me into a hug and cuddles me close. Imagine, and at this point I had been with a couple other people that I knew that like this was bullshit. So it was like, imagine being intimate with someone and being someone's intimate partner and hearing that they didn't get off, that they didn't, you know, enjoy themselves to the extent of being able to finish, and your response is, oh, I'm sorry, and not do anything about it. So I let him cuddle me for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and I went, I think I'm gonna go home. Actually, I'm tired. And he was like, oh, okay. See you later. And then I kind of just slow ghosted him after that, and that's the end of part 2. You might be saying to yourself, Marielle, what do you mean end of part 2? You didn't see this man again, did you? In a way, no. In a way, no, I didn't. But in another more embarrassing way, I did forgive him a second time. And in all fairness, enough time had kind of gone by the time he popped up again that I was in a dumb bitch era again. Like, I don't know. He pops up again early 2021. So again, a lot of time had gone by. I didn't entertain him too much. At this point, I had enough balls to text him and be like, you know, you never made me finish, right? And he was like, yes, I did. I always make girls finish. And I was like, no, not this one. You never touched me. And he was like, oh, I'll change that. I'm going to change that. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I was like, kind of just, he was like in California working, and I was like, just, again, out of boredom, just whatever. And the final end of things was like a month or two into us talking for the third time. And we had like, you know, sexy talked here and there. And it wasn't really doing much for me, so I wasn't like totally invested. But one time specifically, I was going out on a walk with my best friend in the city, and he had texted me something innocuous, like nothing that was like a pressing matter for me to answer to. He had texted me something, whatever. And I didn't answer because I was like on the way out of the door, but I was posting on Instagram because like I had to post something, like not necessarily like a brand deal, but like I had to post, I posted something, I don't remember what it was, but I posted something and I didn't answer him right away. And we like were walking out the door, walked out the door. It was freezing cold out. I couldn't have my phone in my hands. I had to have my hands in my pockets. Go get sandwiches to go eat in the park. And by the time I get to the park where me and my best friend meet up with our other friend and we sit down, I look at my phone, he's blown up my phone. I was like, whoa, what happened here? What's going on? And I look and he's like, yeah, have a good life. I'm done with you. I'm done with this. Like, blah, blah. He was all mad. And I was like, whoa, bro, what's going on? What's happening? And he was like, he's like, and he tries to always act so cool. Like, he's like, nah, man, it's no big deal. Like, he's not really that upset about whatever he's upset about. And he was like, nah, man, like, that's just not what I fuck with. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that shit. Like, you not answering my text and then posting on social media. Like, I don't jive with that. I don't fuck with that. And I was like, what are you talking? I was like, and truly, like, maybe 20 minutes, if that, passed between when he texted me and when I answered him back. Like, it was not a long time at all. And I was like, what are you on? What's going on? And he's like, it's disrespectful. You're being disrespectful to me. Like, I would never do it to anyone, so I'm not gonna be with anyone or talk to anyone that would do that to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't. I remember saying to him, I was like, I can't believe I let this happen to me again. I am so fucking stupid. And he was like, what do you mean? And then when I talked to him about the, like, last time that he did something like this and he gaslit me and, like, treated me like shit, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Truly, like, you can't write this shit. So yeah, so then I went, you know what? I said, you know what? I have given you far too many chances. You have screwed it up again by being an absolute maniac. I didn't mean to offend you. I explained to you that I was going out with my friends. It's freezing out. My hands are in my pockets. I don't have my phone. You texted me the same time that I was posting on Instagram. It's nothing against you, blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, would not take no for an answer. And I remember saying to him, I was like, you know how many times you've messed up with me. Like, you're willing to end this, like, for good, because I'm not doing this again. Like, you're fumbling this yet again. And he was like, yeah, well, I just don't deal with people that are disrespectful to me. And I was like, okay. So I have those texts, I have those receipts. So January 22nd, we have this whole fight, right? And then the 25th of January, he says, okay, I'm over it. He said, we can be acquaintances, but no social media. And I said, okay. And he said, I come home today, want a high five? And I said, why would we hang out if we can't even be friends on social media? I said, that's a genuine question. I'm not trying to be bitchy, because it's easy to make him blow up. And he's like, I'm actually helping out the situation so it doesn't accidentally happen. We can be friends. Doesn't mean we have to be social media friends. And I said, yeah, you said acquaintances. I figured that didn't include hanging out. And then he goes on to say, no, that part was me being a wise ass, because if I text you and you forget and post and I see that, I'm gonna be butthurt again. Where if I don't see anything and you don't answer and post, it's not in my face. That's the only alternative I can think of, unless you rather me gone. And I said, well, I'm still a little upset about the way things went down the other day, so I just need to figure that out. And he said, well, if you can't move past it, then don't worry about it. I won't hit you up anymore. That was my last reach out. Have a great life. And I said, okay, you too, with a pink sparkly heart. And that was the end to the DD saga. I am ashamed and embarrassed. But I do think that he was always a fun little litmus test of, like, how I was growing in my journey of singledom and, like, learning to have self-esteem and, like, love and cherish myself. And another little fun fact is that when I went to esthetician school, I found out that one of my fellow students that I was friends with also had, like, a little situationship with him, and we commiserated over just how fucking awful he was. So it made me feel so validated that, like, I wasn't truly crazy, and that maybe I wasn't just being, like, a dumb bitch about the whole situation like he led me to believe. So that was really validating. So yeah, so this is the look. I haven't been this excited about a makeup look in a long time. Some of the stars are wonky, but that's okay, because sometimes life is wonky and we try our best. And it's better than not trying at all. And I'm so happy with how this came out. Let's go look in the sunlight. See, like, this lighting's not the best, but can you see? Pink lipstick always makes my teeth look yellow, but I don't care, because I feel like a cute little Lisa Frank princess. Okay, my babies, that's it for another Dating Chronicles episode. Shout out to DD for any of the trauma that has turned me into the woman that I am today. We are grateful for every type of situationship, relationship we've been put into because it teaches us a lesson, okay? Brings us closer to our most fulfilled form, right? Okay, so that's it for me. I love you so much. See you next time.